So we both are friends with Zaki from Valorant Hub, and I
Yes, of
know
course.
Zaki has told me that you've played. So you've played KO, is that right?
Yes, I have actually quite a bit in the last few weeks. I've been streaming too, my gameplays and stuff like that, which has been which man, that's been a whole kind of endeavor on that part.
What's
But
that like?
it's well, the first time I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of self-conscious. It was like people are seeing the way I play and how I get acclimated to a game, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was cool because I think it's cool. Everybody who came in the chat or who's been watching lately has been kind of seeing the progression of Gabe as KO and how he's getting better at the game. And so it's all been like cheering on, and people have been giving like great advice on like centering, on how to aim, and what does like what does heaven mean? What does this like all that kind of stuff. And these are like terminologies of like where to look when somebody's like calling out something and stuff. So anyway, it's been amazing
Hmm.
to kind of go through that progression. And I've never done any kind of stream like this. Like I've always, if I'm playing, I'm like playing on my own, and I'm just kind of yelling at myself for not getting something. But now to be exposed to the masses and people seeing how frustrated I am when I don't get something is kind of like another height there. So yeah, it's been cool. It's been fun, interesting.
So, and how do you, I mean, have you done a lot of video games before you booked KO?
A lot of no, not a lot of video games. I've done some. I think I've done a few, but nothing like it wasn't anything crazy. Like it wasn't like I think right now I can't remember. I think I was on Far Cry, Orcs Must Die 3. What else did I do prior to KO video game wise? I've done like little bit parts in other games, just like smaller games and stuff. And so, no, not a lot. Oh, also like Marvel, like I played War Machine and Marvel Super War. And so yeah, I mean, not a ton, but just enough to understand the landscape of kind of like what video games entails and what type of chops I would need to bring to the table in order to book one. So yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself because I should probably start with your career, but I just am
Oh,
interested
no,
to
you're
know,
good.
what do you think the difference between voicing something like a video game
Yeah.
and because people ask me this on TikTok a lot. Like, what's the difference between doing a voice for a video game versus doing a voice for an animation or,
Mm,
like,
mm.
what is the difference with video games, do you think?
For me, I feel like the performances, video games for me are like movies. They're like, I feel like they're almost more cinematic and movie-like than an animated series. And so with that, it means that the um the portrayal of the character is a lot more grounded. There's not necessarily like funny voice of like, I'm gonna kill you, Timmy. Like you're like all the performances are pretty, these sound like real people going through real things. And unless you're a dragon or a monster or whatever, it's pretty cinematic in what they're trying to go for. And you can even
Right.
tell in that the motion capture that they use, and it's actual human beings doing that. In animation, not so much. It's all drawn and everything. And so
Mm.
there are some things on Netflix even that have more ground. Like I said, Castlevania as one animated series that I think has more grounded performances. It's not necessarily like funny voices or things to make people laugh. It's more like just more soap opera ish in the sense of seriousness and all that stuff. So, but I think video games, yeah, like I said, it's more grounded and more real. It's not about necessarily making a funny voice. It's about making they're looking for like real people to bring characters to life and real voices and real gravitas rather, and making it sound like it sounds like something off of a film, a triple A film.
Yeah, that's such an interesting answer, and I really like that. So Val was actually the second voiceover job I ever booked.
Wow.
Yeah, I like
Wow.
I
Shoot.
felt
Good night.
I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
amazing. Golly. Wow.
I I so I randomly I was signed commercially I was just an actor, got asked to audition for the voiceover department because I had an accent. Really, they were like, "Oh, you have an accent, so you can do accents." And I was like, I mean, that's not what that means, but yeah, sure, give it a crack. And then I did it, whatever, got signed, started auditioning and like figuring it out. And I the first video game that I booked, it was a small game, but they gave me a monologue, and it was just like literally like a really well written character monologue. It was, and I performed it, and then I ended up booking that, and that was never dialogue in the actual video game.
Video game, yeah.
And I remember thinking that was really bizarre because in my head I had this stereotype of how a video game voice sounds, and it's just this melodramatic, like hexes, you know, like that kind of like, I can't explain it, that voice, that is just not even a person, you know?
Right.
But I think things have probably changed a lot.
Oh yeah.